it can be really tough when you have a lot of problems, like, many different kinds of problems in a classroom. And so she was hoping to have some more information about what kind of strategies to use when it's not just one student with an issue. You have multiple different kinds of students and, struggling. And so I'm really kind of excited that you asked about this because um, I just listened to an absolutely amazing session by Dave Stewart Jr. and it kind of ties in a little bit to what you were talking about too, Becky. And it's about cognitive science, which I think honestly, if I ever had a chance to go back and do more learning, I would go back and study neuroscience because it is so fascinating to me, all the ways that um, our students connect. And I'm a Spanish teacher, so all the learning, all the connections of the way we learn language and everything. So it's also fascinating to me. And he was talking about how there's choke points and there's pitfalls. And so the choke points are things that we just naturally as humans come up against as humans, as learners. Like we have a cognitive load. We can only handle so much. And so, one of the things is just recognizing, are there ways to lower the cognitive load in our classroom? Are there ways to make it so that it's more accessible for all learners in our classroom? And one of the ways that he was talking about that is just by simplifying, having less activities. Like instead of, because I know for me, I'm like, oh, I love novelty. Okay. I could do things that are different every single day, but is that what's best for our students? Maybe our students would benefit with just having, one different thing to do, um, to process their information. So maybe think, pair, share is what's going to be best for all of our students, no matter what they are struggling with. That could be the main strategy that we're using. Um, so it doesn't mean that we have to get, scaffolding can seem so intense when we have all these diverse learners, but we can find one strategy that can be used in a myriad of ways. So, and I'm looking, and you teach ninth through 12th grade. And one of my favorite strategies that I like to use, like especially when it comes to, I use this a lot in testing, but I also used it a lot as like exit slips and things like that, is I'd be, tell me what you learned today. And back then, because I'm not in the classroom currently, but I was then, we had Flipgrid, which was very popular, and they would just record a 30-second video. And so that took the pressure off. They didn't have to be technical or answer a specific question. Tell me what you learned today. And that was a chance for them to do that recall that can work, no matter what they're struggling with, and empower them to be like, I actually did learn something today. And that really, especially in that age group, that older age group, helps them to take it to a next level of, I did learn something. And so I do think that when you have a diverse group of kids, if you can find one or two strategies that can be used across the board for them, like and it can be really difficult if you have one or two kids that are intense. We do have to kind of, I don't want to use the word cater, but you know what I mean. But we can adapt.